guys, and welcome to the History and Chill channel. Today I wanted to make a video on a very good book that I read this year. It's this book, The Photographer of Auschwitz. I obviously have the Dutch version, The Fotograaf van Auschwitz, and it's written by Luca Crippa and Maurizio Onis, or Onus, I'm not sure. But I think this is a very good book about life in prison camp that is Auschwitz, and I wanted to make a video about this book. And I'm just gonna start with translating the back of the book so that I can shortly summarize how do you say it? That I can shortly summarize the book. I'm just gonna leave it at that, and then later on this video I will say something about my personal reflection on the book and what I thought was really good about it. I'm just gonna spoil it. I don't really have negative things about the book. I thought it was very good, very easy to read. It was very well written, and it really, when I say easy to read, I'm not like, I meant that it was well written, so you can read it fast, but it's really lively, you know. Like, I read this book just before sleeping. I always read books before sleeping, and this is written like a novel, so it's not like it's based on true story, but it is written like a novel, so you can like read it. And for me, especially when I'm in bed, I want to read novels or stories. Like, I also read like non-fiction, obviously, but most of the times I do not read non-fiction in bed. I read that during the day, sometimes in bed, but like during the day, on the train, stuff like that. That's when I read non-fiction. So, but anyways, this book is written like a novel, and it tells the story of Wilhelm Brasse. And I'm gonna read the back now, because I can keep on talking. But, you know. So, in Dutch it says: iedereen kent de foto's van de gevangenen in Auschwitz en die van de slachtoffers van Mengeles wetenschappelijk onderzoek. Maar wie nam die foto's? Een SS'er, Mengele zelf. So it says, everybody knows the pictures of the prisoners in Auschwitz and those of the victims of Auschwitz. The victims of Dr. Mengele. But who took these photos? Was it somebody from the SS, or was it Mengele himself? Then it says, Wilhelm Brasse, gevangene nummer 3444 in Auschwitz, werd van 1940 tot 1945 gedwongen om met Duitse grondigheid elk gruwelijk detail van het kampleven op foto's vast te leggen. So it says, Wilhelm Brasse, prisoner number 3444 of Auschwitz, was forced from 1940 to 1945 to take pictures with the German Grundigkeit, like German precision. Not sure how to say it. So yeah, he was forced to like capture the details of the camp life in pictures. Dagelijks geconfronteerd met de wanhoop en het lijden van de gevangenen, realiseerde Brasse zich dat hij iets moest doen om deze misdaden openbaar te maken. Keer op keer riskeerde hij zijn leven door foto's en negatieven in handen van het Poolse verzet te spelen. So what it says is that Brasse, he was confronted with despair and suffering of the prisoners on a daily basis, and he realized that he had to do something to make these crimes public. So what he did was he made sure that the pictures and the negatives of the pictures, especially, they were overhanded to the Polish resistance. And yeah, also it says, toch vond Brasse zelf in het dodenkamp van hoop, de moed van de verzetstrijders, een publiek vriendelijk gebaar en het vinden van liefde op de onwaarschijnlijke plek op aarde, overtuigde Brasse ervan dat zelfs oog in oog met de dood sommige mensen nooit hun menselijkheid en hoop op een beter leven verliezen. So it says that even though Brasse was in Auschwitz, he found moments of unexpected hope. The courage of the resistance fighters, a small friendly gesture of somebody, and the finding of love in the most improbable place on earth. And that convinced him that even eye in eye with death, some people never lose their humanity and the hope to a better life. And with that being said, like, the book is around 300 pages. Yeah, around 300 pages, and it reads really fast, like you fly through it. And also it's very lively, so you read this and you can really feel the tension throughout the entire book, which is really good. But also, if you are prone to having bad dreams or something, or just lively dreams like me, then it's possible you dream about concentration camps and stuff like that, because I had nightmares sometimes when reading this book. It talks about the story of Wilhelm Brasse. That's what I said, and that's what the cover said. But who was that Wilhelm Brasse? Well, he was Polish, but he had German roots, and that's why the SS made him. They thought he was like a special prisoner, maybe, like, and he was also a very talented photographer. You know, nowadays we all take photos with our phones like it's nothing, but back then it was a real skill, and you still have people that treat it like a skill today. It just wasn't that mainstream like today, and back then it was a really hard thing to do. And the Germans, the SS, they wanted pictures of everybody entering the camp for documentation, and that's why Wilhelm Brasse, he was offered the job at the documentation office. I believe you say it like that. I prepared some notes here. I'm just gonna take them because otherwise I will drift off a little bit too much. Hold on. They're on my phone this time, so yeah. So he was a Polish photographer, and before the war he took pictures of families, people in love, like stuff like that, you know, like the reason why people go to a photographer, you know. And in the camp he was later forced to take pictures of the prisoners for the SS, and he took all kinds of different pictures, but mostly it were portraits of the new arrivals of prisoners. Just imagine, he saw like millions of people took their pictures, and most of them, they were like killed moments later, you know. So as I said, his role in the camp was to take pictures, and he had this in the book. It's also like they described the moral weight of what he's doing, you know. So like he knows he's like working with the SS, and he also knows he is in a privileged position towards other prisoners, and every day he feels that tension as well. But he also is just a prisoner. And you also feel that tension very hard, like if there is an SS person around, he has to be very cautious of what he says, and his colleagues, like fellow prisoners in the documentation office, they're also like very, you know, like the SS treats them like they're disposable, you know. So it's a very, it leads up to very stressful situations, that's for sure. Even though the book tone is respectful, it's still like, yeah, you can really feel the tension, you know, as I already said. And there's this constant painful conscience of Wilhelm that shines through the story. And then also, oh my god, I've been talking for 10 minutes. In my head, I was just starting. But also, like, the thing that Wilhelm Brasse does is he hides the negatives of all the pictures. And he was like, yeah, you know, the SS, they are burning bodies. But if I keep these pictures, then there will be proof throughout history that this happened. And later, his pictures were actually used in the Nuremberg trials. Those are the trials where a lot of remaining important Nazi officers and commanders were being put on trial, you know. And yeah, you know, like, Wilhelm, he survived Auschwitz, but afterwards I think he never photographed again. And actually what he was trying to do with keeping the negatives and passing them on to the Polish resistance is like this message that reads like, you tried to erase us, but yet remain. And there's also this entire this SS officer that treats him kindly, but still like a prisoner. And they see him as a person that could like be a German, you know, because he had some German roots, if I believe. Because I read the book this year, but it's been a while. It was like a couple of months ago. But I believe that he had German roots. The reason I'm not 100% sure is because I read multiple stories about Auschwitz camps and other concentration camps, and I do not want to mix them up. So I'm pretty sure that he had some German roots, which is also why he had this advantage, because obviously the SS, they were like, yeah, really biased towards racial, you know, what's the word? Man, sometimes the English words are hard to find if I'm drifting off, but like racial prejudice, is it what you say? Like, I don't know, but they, so that explains why some of them had a soft spot for him. Yeah, but you know, and what I also wanted to say is that he doesn't come across as a hero when you read the story. He often says that he is realizing that he had a privileged position, and that's why he survived the war, the camp. And also, like, he didn't save any of those lives. It was way beyond his power to do so. He just had to survive. He just had to take photos. But he really provided the evidence of a lot of identifications of people that went to Auschwitz, but also like evidenced what they did, you know. So he, yeah, as I said, his photographs were used during the Nuremberg trials, and it got a lot of people convicted. And I would definitely recommend for you to read this book if you think it's interesting. Especially, you know, I read the Dutch translation, obviously, and I thought it was very well written, but I'm sure the English version, for somebody that speaks English, is just as well written. Me, personally, I prefer to read in Dutch. It's my native language, since I'm Flemish and live in the northern part of Belgium. But, yeah, so that's why I always read in Dutch. You know, if I read in English, I'm a person that like really has to like immerse immerse myself in a story if I read a novel, and that's, for me, that's harder to do when I read in English. For example, like, I used to read Lord of the Rings a lot of times, and then one day at a vacation in Croatia, it was, I think, or Slovenia. I was on a holiday there, and I didn't bring my books, but I wanted to read Lord of the Rings, and I found like this English copy, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read it this holiday to just relax. But as I was reading it, for me, it just wasn't the same, you know. So it was hard to like immerse myself in the world when it was not my native tongue. But yet again, I am really babbling. I don't know if you say that, but I just cannot leave it at this. But definitely check out this book if you are interested in this topic. And I'm sure if you're still here, I guess you are interested in this topic. This one was one of my favorite books of this year. Very good story and very factual story. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.